Today, we contribute to 16 days of activism against violence against women campaign by launching the gender equality map in the partnership with the Ministry of Human and Minority Rights, and thanks to the gracious support of the Austrian Development Agency. The aim of the map is to draw the attention to the status of women and gender-based violence in Montenegro in a simple yet compelling manner. It has an ambition through presenting currently available data to inform responses and solutions designed by policymakers, researchers, civil society organizations, students and activists in addressing gender inequality in Montenegro. Among other pieces of information, it also provides critical pieces of data for victims of the gender-based violence, in particular on where and how to seek help, regardless of where they reside in Montenegro. Violence against women, unfortunately, remains a widespread crime and most common violations of the women's human rights, with devastating consequences for women themselves, but also societies at large. The most striking is the fact that predominantly the violence against women is committed by their intimate partners in the families and homes where they should feel the safest. But let me be clear, no one is born a gender-based violence perpetrator. Gender-based violence is primarily a social construct. It results from norms, behaviors, cultures, and beliefs around relationships and the expectations on the division of the power and control in the societies between men and women. Over the centuries, these have become so deeply rooted in reality of our lives, of our societies, that we often overlook them, and on a daily basis, we don't even question them. On the contrary, that's why today I would like to call on everyone in Montenegro, girls, boys, women, and men, to show zero tolerance to violence, and do it for so long that it becomes yet another widely accepted norm. Furthermore, the zero tolerance is the first step that needs to be complemented by 4 strands of actions. Namely, the first one is funding. In the Western Balkans, only 27% of women civil society organizations are reporting that they are receiving funding for their gender-based violence activities. Availability of urgent and flexible funding to support the needs of the victims of the gender-based violence is critical to respond to the surge of the cases that we have witnessed over the last few months of the COVID pandemic. Secondly, responding. The service provision and protection of the victims of the gender-based violence cannot stop during the pandemic, nor can it continue with these flaws that this crisis has uncovered. To addressing these flaws will require continuous institutional adjustment, fast response, adaptability, and flexibility. Open, constructive, and trusted dialogue among all members of the existing multidisciplinary teams in Montenegro, be it the representatives of police, judiciary, the state agencies, ministries, and civil society organizations, who are oftentimes the first responders and most informed about the situation on the ground, is critical to address the needs of the victims of the gender-based violence. Thirdly, I call for prevention. Let's disrupt multiple levels of both subtle and open violence and aggression, embedded oftentimes in our daily conduct, be it in institutional practices, in education, in language that we use, in the mainstream media, but also in the social media. And last but not least, collect the data, collect the information, collect the evidence. And the map that we present today attempts to show as many information and data points as we could obtain that point to the state of gender equality in Montenegro. However, the gaps in the data do still exist. And I call on all the data providers, all the institutions that have the information that could shed the light on the status of the women in Montenegro to make them available. And where we continue to uncover the gaps, do continue to prioritize the collection of the sex disaggregated data and the collection of information on the situation of the victims of the gender-based violence in Montenegro. Let me conclude by saying that women will not be free from violence until there is an equality. And equality cannot be achieved until there is a violence and strength of violence in the society. Montenegro cannot reach its full potential until and unless women's potential is realized and women are allowed, according to their choices, to participate equally in the society.